Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening. This is the National News Telecast. I'm Muin Hettiarachchi.
And I'm Kasani Balachandra Adhikari. We start off with a look at your headlines for tonight. Process to direct education towards digital transformation commenced. Official uniforms for school children from China. The present government is obviously uncorrupt, says the Australian ambassador in Sri Lanka. Road accidents last year exceed 22,000 mark. Police requests alertness during driving. Denmark Prime Minister says that people of Greenland will choose Denmark instead of USA. Official jersey of Sri Lanka for T20 Cricket World Cup tournament launched. We move on to those and other stories in detail in your top local story tonight. Process to direct education towards the digital transformation has commenced as a project of assistance from the government of China. A sum of 8.2 million rupees has been donated by the Chinese government. Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya and Ambassador of the People's Republic of China in Sri Lanka, Ki Zhengong, joined the inaugural function held today at the Ministry of Education. A project was signed to provide Chinese assistance to transform education digitally parallel to this. The Chinese ambassador stated that the assistance is provided to digitalize education in Sri Lanka as a step of promoting friendship between the two countries. He added that 6 Chinese specialists will also arrive in the island for a renovation project of 60 bridges damaged due to Cyclone Ditwa.
Meanwhile, school uniforms provided as a donation from the Chinese government has been received. The Chinese ambassador in Sri Lanka, Ki Zhengong, handed over the school uniforms officially to Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya yesterday. The country has received 11,484 million meters of clothes as a complete donation from the government of China. This will be received in Sri Lanka in 3 shipments. The stocks of clothes received so far was handed over yesterday. This will be handed over for the divisional education officers from the 19th of the month. Prime Minister stated that Sri Lanka and China can be described as 2 countries trying to provide education with equality for children. She added that this will further strengthen the friendship between the 2 countries, and the Deputy Minister Dr. Madhuradham Senaviratne and a number of other officials were present at the occasion.
It's a real privilege to be with you today as we formally receive the school uniform materials for 2026, so generously provided by the government of the People's Republic of China. Ensuring that every child, regardless of background, has access to learning is essential to building an equitable and inclusive education system. Free school uniforms supports families and strengthens access to education across the island, something that is key priority in our education system. On behalf of the government and people of Sri Lanka, I sincerely thank the government of China. 184 million meters of school uniform fabric, which will benefit approximately 4.4 million students in government and government-aided schools, as well as students and student monks. International cooperation in education must ultimately serve the learner. Today's event shows that when nations collaborate with respect and shared responsibility, the primary beneficiaries are our children and future generations. Efforts to ensure that all children have access to education with dignity, so that no child feels different from any other child.
As we all say in China, no matter how difficult the circumstances, education must never be compromised. Allow me to reaffirm that whatever Sri Lanka faces challenges, China will remain your reliable brother. Moving forward, we are committed to providing continued support to the best of our capacity. May the friendship between China and Sri Lanka be just like those threads, tightly woven together and stronger than ever.
The Department of Education says that systematic study activities of the concerned curriculum of the postponed new education reforms is to be implemented for grade 1 on the 29th of this month. This has been mentioned in the communique issued by the ministry regarding the maintenance of school education activities this year. The number of daily periods will be revised as 8 from grade 6 to 13. One period will be of 40 minutes duration and the timetable will have to be prepared as per the system followed during previous years, according to the communique issued by the Ministry of Education. The previous curriculum will be followed during this year as well for grade 6. According to the Ministry of Education, the textbooks used by the last year students for grade 6 will be mainly used in education. Principals have been instructed to distribute among grade 6 students the textbooks used during the last year. It has also been proposed to implement a pilot project pertaining to concerned new reforms in several provinces this year. The communique further states that concerned teacher training activities will be continued throughout the year.
Australian ambassador in Sri Lanka, Matthew Duckworth, states that the present government clearly demonstrates the qualities of a government without corruption. He added that the present administrative system based on transparency, rule of law and responsibility has won the trust of the international community. The ambassador made these comments when he visited the office of the National People's Power in Jaffna today. He stressed that Australia is prepared to provide complete assistance in development of Northern Province. The Australian government has paid a special assistance regarding areas such as investment opportunities in the north, industrial development, employment and sustainable economic development. The ambassador further stated that the Australian government is prepared to accept the development efforts in the north with political stability and clear policy guidance. He also met with Minister of Fisheries, Aquatic and Marine Resources, Ramlingan Chandrasekaran during the visit and discussed about the number of areas including political, economical and development activities.
Nuwara tourism city faced immense threats due to the recent disaster caused by cyclone Ditwa. Tourism industry in the area was also threatened severely due to the disaster. However, all activities in the Nuwara city now have returned to normalcy. The area is now full of local and foreign tourists. Ditwa cyclone wreaked havoc in the central province and specially caused many damages to the Nuwara district. Majority of foreign tourists used to visit Nuwara as an interesting destination. However, due to the disaster situation, many access roads to Nuwara city were damaged. Anyway, due to the efficient restoring mechanism implemented by the government, Nuwara tourism city has now returned to normal situation.
Climate is very good now, nice and cool, and hospital people are very friendly.
විදේශික සංචාරකයන් නම් ගොඩක් එනවා.
නුවරඑළිය මාර්ගයත්, ඇටන් නුවරඑළිය මාර්ගයත්, වලපනේ නුවරඑළිය මාර්ගයත්, බදුල්ල නුවරඑළිය මාර්ගයත් සියලුම මාර්ග විවෘතව පවතින මේ වෙන විට.
බිස්නස් එකේ මේසර් ගේසර්ට වෙටි මේසරේ පොට හොඳයි.
විශ්වාස කරනවා මේ තයි පොංගල් සේව වෙනුවෙන් විශාල පිරිසක් වෙන්නේ.
The inaugural function of the Rebuild Sri Lanka program was held at the Bandaranaike International Conference Hall under the guidance of President Anurukumara Dissanayake. This was done yesterday and 4 persons donated land to the program on this occasion. Chandakusarvati Everett, a resident of Wadakada and Sewanda, donated 2 acres and 29.5 perch land from Alava area, while G. Rasanga Pragin Fernando from Huekanda Panadura donated 70 perches from Bandargam area. Meanwhile, T. Nimesha Madhumali Sirivardhana, a resident of Vevadagada Kurunagala, has donated 64 perch of land from Polpitigaha area in Kurunagala, while DM Samanth Sarat Anand from Hingulugala Ottawatha also donated land. Grants to the monthly donations of 10,000 rupees provided from the President's Fund to students affected by the cyclone Ditwa has been directed to all district officers. All students who receive the 115,000 rupee allowance provided by the government will also receive the allowance. Accordingly, each student will receive a financial aid of 25,000 rupees affected by the disaster. Sri Lanka Ranga Kalakhavya, maintained by the Sri Lankan residents in Washington, USA, has donated 6,500 rupees to the Rebuilding Sri Lanka program. The check in respect was handed over to President's Secretary.
Sri Lanka Customs and Inland Revenue Department signed a memorandum of understanding yesterday in order to conduct investigations through joint mechanism. It was signed at the Ministry of Finance. Secretary to the Ministry Dr. Harshana Surya Peruma, Director General of Sri Lanka Customs C.V. Arugoda and Commissioner General of Inland Revenue Rukdevi Fernando were present at the signing of the MOU. Through this agreement, the two institutions will be able to investigate and audit the declarations made by importers and trade community to the Inland Revenue Department and the Sri Lanka Customs. The Secretary to the Ministry of Finance stated that this MOU is signed under the government's program implemented to increase state tax income. Secretary to the Ministry Dr. Harshana Surya Peruma stated that the program is designed to identify and close existing gaps while strengthening the legal system to ensure greater efficiency. By encouraging seamless cooperation across sectors, the initiative aims to minimize operational conflicts and ensure that the government and the National Treasury receive the appropriate revenue they are owed. The Secretary stresses that the core objective is to maximize revenue through the current tax framework without imposing any additional financial burden on ordinary citizens or the business community. Dr. Surya Peruma highlights the need to confront those who engage in fraudulent practices such as deliberately undervaluing assets to evade taxes, which deprives the state of vital income and creates unfair obstacles for honest entrepreneurs. The Secretary believes that the ongoing national shift towards digitalization will be a major factor in ensuring the success of these efforts. Finally, he emphasizes the importance of honest public officials working collectively to eliminate corruption and fraud, viewing this initiative as a critical step in serving the nation's best interests through transparency and integrity.
Given the verdict of the case relating to the assassination of Polonnaruwa district parliamentarian Amarakirthi Atkorala has been postponed until 11th of February. The case was concluded at the Gampa Provincial High Court today. The Attorney General has filed a case against 41 defendants, except for 37 defendants have been indicted, and the case was heard before a 3-panel member of judges. The judge panel decided to declare the verdict on the 11th of February since the time is not adequate to study the written submissions in regard to the case. Colombo High Court has issued a warrant against former Minister Vimal Veeravansha to be arrested and produced before the court as he has failed to appear before a case against him. Following several hours of issuance of the warrant, the former minister appeared before the courts through a lawyer. Then the court reversed the warrant issued. The case has been filed against him under the charges of illegally earning assets and properties worth over 75 million rupees. The Colombo High Court ordered a case against 4 defendants, including former Minister Kehelia Rambukwalla, his son Ramita Rambukwalla and daughter Amali Narayan Rambukwalla to be summoned on the 29th of the month. The Colombo High Court ordered the resummons of the case against 3 defendants, including the former Minister Johnston Fernando, on the 4th of month. The case has been filed on the case of causing financial loss to the government by removing Sathas employees from their official duties and deploying them on political activities when he was acting as the Minister of Trade. The Trincomalee Police has summoned an investigation in regard to illegal construction of a shelter at the Coast of Conservation Zone in Trincomalee town and placing a Buddha statue there. The complaint has been lodged by the officials of the Coastal Conservation Department and was summoned at the Trincomalee Magistrate Court today. Out of the 11 suspects named for the case, 9 of them appeared before the courts and they have been remanded until the 9th of the month. It was also ordered to arrest the 4 other suspects and produce them before the courts.
According to police, a total number of 22,153 vehicle accidents occurred in 2025. It's requested by the police from the motorists to be more careful while driving. There have been 2,597 road accidents during 2025. 2,746 persons have died in the accidents. It has also been reported that 68 vehicle accidents occurred by 12 January this year, causing the death of 73 persons and injuring 46. Director General Director of the Police Traffic Control and Road Safety Division, Senior Superintendent of Police Manoj Rangala urged the public to drive responsibly to protect their own lives, the lives of those inside their vehicles and the lives of pedestrians. DIG in charge of the Traffic Control and Road Safety Directorate, WPG Senadira, emphasized the necessity of physical readiness, stating that drivers should have at least 6 to 8 hours of quality sleep before a journey. For long trips, he advises taking a 30-minute break after every 4.5 hours of continuing driving. He highlighted a concerning statistic that last year 31% of road fatalities were pedestrians. He noted that if a pedestrian crossing is available within 50 meters, pedestrians are legally required to use it. Failure to do so can result in legal action. While using a crossing is a right, he cautioned pedestrians to exercise that right with care and awareness. Regarding vehicle modifications, he clarified that no additional parts can be added to a vehicle after it has been manufactured and approved by the Commissioner of Motor Traffic without specific additional permission from the Motor Traffic Department. He also mentioned that the police will take legal action against parents who allow children under 18 to operate motorcycles or three-wheelers. Finally, he listed several key safety rules. Chief Motor Vehicle Inspector Prabhat Rajadeva identified several factors that contribute to road accidents, including the condition of the vehicles, the driver's behavior, the nature of the road, weather conditions, and the actions of third parties. He pointed out dangerous habits such as eating while driving or turning around to talk to passengers in the back seat. He provided specific technical advice for drivers in mountainous areas, suggesting that drivers use brakes as little as possible. Instead, they use the gearbox to reduce speed. He recommended using the same gear to descend a hill. Police media spokesman Assistant Superintendent of Police F.U. Wootler reported on a recent incident in the Velikanda police area involving a motorcycle carrying 3 individuals who allegedly ignored police orders. He said that the passengers attempted to attack the police, leading the officers to use force, which resulted in the death of 1 individual. He confirmed that an investigation is currently underway under the direct supervision of the Senior Superintendent of Police of Polonnaruwa and the Assistant Superintendent of Police. The scene has been inspected by the court and a preliminary magisterial inquiry has begun. Additionally, a judicial medical officer has been assigned for a post-mortem examination.
Hindu devotees across Sri Lanka are getting ready to celebrate Thai Pongal festival, which falls tomorrow. The aim of the Thai Pongal festival is to recall the services of the sun for agricultural activities and to express gratitude to its service.
The Thai Pongal, the traditional harvest festival, will be celebrated tomorrow. The Tamil people celebrate Thai Pongal festival as an expression to gratitude, God, sun and nature. It is one of the most important and traditional festival of Tamil community. Now I am staying in Vavuniya, northern province of Sri Lanka. The town little busy with the Thai Pongal preparation. Markets are crowded with people to purchase new products, new clay pots, new clothes, sugarcane and fresh vegetables. As a national channel, we extend our warm wishes for everyone. Happy Thai Pongal. For Rupavahini News, I am Gaji Gobisudan from Vavuniya district.
Let's take a look at some news of development. The construction of a safety side wall has been initiated for the pond damage due to a landslide on Rendapola Road. A sum of 8.10 million rupees will be spent for this project. Foreign tourists use the road on a daily basis on their way to visit Bumburu Ella Falls. This is also the shortcut approach for many arriving from Nuwara. A number of roads damaged due to Cyclone Ditwa in Polonnaruwa district are being developed by now. The residents faced immense difficulties due to the damaged roads. The renovation will be completed during a short period of time.
The distribution of Panivara Acharya certificates, diploma certificates to 100 bhikkhus trained at Venamulla School, Social Services Biruyan Bhikkhu School, was held at the BMIC premises in Colombo yesterday. This has been organized to mark the completion of 2 decades after establishing the Venamulla Social Services Biruyan Bhikkhu Training Institute, which was controlled by the Prevailing Education Division of the Ministry of Education. The ceremony was held under the guidance of the Chief Incumbent of the Training Institute, Master of Education, Venerable Belapule Sumedha Thera. Mahapad, the designation of the Venamulla Social Services Biruyan Bhikkhu Training Institution was conferred to the General Registrar of the Sri Kalaniya Yoga Sharma Buddhist Order Agam Mahapandita Venerable Kagollaya Somwansa Thera at the ceremony. General Registrar of the Sri Lanka Amarapura Chapter Venerable Balapitiya Sri Siva Lisera of the reforms are compulsory for the education sector of the country. It is better having a discussion regarding the education reforms of both laymen and bhikkhus. The Thera said the Mahasangha requests further review of the current education reforms and implement them without delay. Mahanayaka Theros of the three chapters, Director General of the Pirivan Education Division and Minister of Education, Dr. Kumalagoda Dhammalokanayaka Thera, and distinguished guests were present at the occasion.
The Colombo Stock Exchange ended today's trading positively. The all-share price index ASPI closed at 23,708.70 after rising by 100.90 points, which represents a 0.43% change. The S&P SL 20 index closed at 6,541.97, up by 47.21 points and 0.73%. A total market capitalization at the close of trading stood at 8.463 trillion rupees. Market turnover for the day amounted to 9.27 billion rupees, with 326.23 million shares traded.
Now, mainly the fair weather will hold for in the country today, but residents in the southwest should prepare for evening rain showers that are expected after 4 p.m. in Kaltara, Gaul, Mathura and Ratnapura, with heavy mist likely for tomorrow morning's commute. We'll be back with foreign news after a short break. Greenland's Prime Minister John Frederick Nielsen says people of the Greenland should choose Denmark over the United States.
He made this statement during a joint press conference held with the Danish Prime Minister.
Prime Minister's remarks are being viewed as the strongest statements by the Greenlandic leader since the former US President Donald Trump announced his intentions to acquire Greenland. The Trump has insisted that Greenland must be owned by the United States to protect it from Russia and China. The White House has proposed purchasing the island and has also indicated a possibility of using military force to annex it should it fail. Denmark, a member of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, has warned that any use of military force by the United States against Greenland would mark the end of the alliance. The United States has already permanently stationed more than 100 military personnel at the base in the northwestern part of Greenland as climate change accelerates the melting of ice.
Now, Iran has placed its military on the highest level of alert as tensions with the United States escalate amid nationwide protests. Tehran has accused US President Donald Trump of inciting violence while warning of regional consequences if Iran is attacked. Iran's military says it is at peak defensive readiness, warning it is prepared to confront any aggression from the United States. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Air Force commander said missile reserves have increased and all damage from last year's conflict with Israel has been repaired. The warning comes as Iran's UN ambassador accused US President Donald Trump of encouraging political destabilization and inciting violence in a letter to the UN Security Council. Meanwhile, Iranian state television acknowledged a high death toll during recent protests, blaming what it described as armed and terrorist groups. Authorities also aired dozens of so-called confession videos of detained protesters as prosecutors warned that those accused of, quote, waging war against God, unquote, could face the death penalty. Iran's foreign ministry condemned new US sanctions as inhumane and illegal, warning they would further damage the global trading system. Regional tensions also rose after reports that Iran warned neighboring countries hosting US military bases that they would be targeted if Iran is attacked. Despite the escalation, officials in Tehran say anti-government protests have subsided over the past 48 hours, with increased pro-government rallies reported across the country.
At least 28 people have been killed and dozens more injured after a construction crane collapsed onto a moving passenger train in northeastern Thailand. The deadly accident has sparked government investigation amid growing concerns over construction safety standards. At least 28 people were killed and 64 others injured when a construction crane collapsed onto a moving passenger train in northeastern Thailand. The crane derailed the train, carrying several carriages and causing one to catch fire. Officials say nearly 200 passengers were on board when the accident occurred. Around noon this morning, the emergency teams rushed to the scene around climbing over managed carriages and rescuing survivors.
Veteran Hollywood actor and comedian T.K. Carter, best known for his roles in The Thing and the television series Spunky Brewster, has died in the United States. He was 69 years of age. Veteran actor T.K. Carter has died at the age of 69. Authorities in Los Angeles County have confirmed. According to the Sheriff's Department, deputies responded to a call about an unresponsive man at a residence in Duarte, California, on Friday evening, where Carter was pronounced dead. Police said no foul play is suspected and the cause of death has not yet been disclosed. Born Thomas Kent Carter in New York City in 1956, he was raised in Southern California and began his career in stand-up comedy before moving into film and television.
Prima Stella, අපි හැමෝම කැමති.
And in your sports news tonight, the official jersey of Sri Lanka team in the forthcoming T20 World Cup cricket tournament was launched today in Colombo with the participation of Captain Dasun Shanaka and a number of others.
The T20 World Cup cricket tournament is scheduled to commence on the 7th of next month, hosted jointly by Sri Lanka and India. The tournament will go on until the 8th of March with the participation of 20 teams. The President of Sri Lankan Cricket, Shammi Silva, and officials, Captain Dasun Shanaka, and players participated in the launch of the official jersey of the Sri Lankan cricket team. Sri Lanka is competing from Group B in this year's World Cup. The first match of Sri Lanka will be played on the 8th of February against Ireland, while the match against Oman has been scheduled for 12th February. The match between Australia and Sri Lanka will be played on the 16th of February, and the last match of the Sri Lanka in the preliminary round has been scheduled for the 19th of February against Zimbabwe.
Nuba nuba nisa ada sana hena ekadeshaya Emmat kamai hadabat rangai halabe adai sinhayo kohet bekai Emmat kamai.
A training workshop for the employee recruiters for the purpose of providing voluntary service during the matches to be played in the Colombo in World Cup T20 cricket tournament was held yesterday at R. Premadas International Cricket Stadium in Colombo. These volunteer employees will be employed at the R. Premadasa and SSC stadiums. The training workshop has been organised by Sri Lanka Cricket. That's it for tonight's English News telecast. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Good night.